For some reason, watching this movie gives me a really big sweet tooth. I can't imagine why. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is seen as this charming, heartwarming film that continues to capture the imaginations of children all over the globe. Certainly more so than the 2005 version, which was disturbing on many levels.
Dad? Papa?
But let's not kid ourselves. Under the surface, Willy Wonka is a dark, demented, utterly unnerving slice of horror. In fact, I remember having a double feature of this film and 1939's The Wizard of Oz back in the day. They both scared me so hard. I had vivid nightmares about witches and chocolate bars for months. Yeah, raise your hand if you think a good number of older children's films contain more psychologically damaging content than many modern horror films.
You know, for kids.
Welcome to another entry in my Scary Scenes and Non-Horror Flicks series. Today, I'm going to be analyzing the infamous tunnel sequence in 1971's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But first, a little background. The film is adapted from the acclaimed children's novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Esteemed author Roald Dahl was inspired by his experiences of trying out chocolate produced by local candy companies. He also harbored a deep hatred for spoiled children, particularly those obsessed with television. These things led to the creation of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, yet another entry in Dahl's catalog of dark children's fantasies. On a side note, I also read The Witches as a wee lad, and boy, did that book rattle me. In 1971, Dahl himself wrote a feature screenplay adapted from his own book. Gene Wilder stars as the oddball candy maker who invites a group of kids on a tour of his supposedly enchanting factory. The factory ain't a pleasant environment, folks. The place is a danger zone. One by one, the rotten children drop like flies, making audiences wonder Wonka's true intentions. Is he just a bloodthirsty, child-hating psychopath? Maybe. In one particularly bizarre sequence, the tour members board a boat. Where does this boat lead? Let's just call it a vision of hell powered by LSD. I mean, the film did get released in the early 1970s, so it's possible the filmmakers took some LSD when making this thing. I'm not one to judge. Anyway, the tunnel scene is full of freaky images sure to make any child scream. So, grab some Wonka bars and fizzy lifting drinks, boys and ghouls. Let's start analyzing this sequence.
Hang on, where are we going?
I don't know, but I don't like the looks of that tunnel up there. Hey, Wonka, I want off!
Round the world and home again. That's the sailor's way.
Okay, so I've always found it amusing that the first stop on Wonka's tour is this colorful, magical candy room. It then continues inside this horrifying tunnel filled with grisly images. It represents the two sides of Wonka's personality, both the light and the dark. Could be seen as a manifestation of the man's psyche. Also, according to the director Mel Stewart, the boat was originally conceived as a 16th century three-master sailboat, but it was too big for the set. Plus, I'm sure they didn't want to put such a beautiful-looking ship on that river of chocolate poo. I mean, gross.
Wonka, do me a favor. Tell those creatures to stop battling back there.
We're going too fast! We're gonna sink! I know it! Why doesn't he stop the boat?
Hang on, darling. Just close your eyes and hang on tight.
Okay, so I really love the way the ride begins in almost total darkness. It's like one of those indoor roller coasters where you begin in a dark room, unsure of where the ride is taking you. Disney's Space Mountain is a bit like that. You start like on this dark path and then, well, actually it stays dark, but you know what I'm getting at.
What is this, a freak out?
Hey, this isn't funny, Wonka!
You can't possibly see where you're going, Wonka.
You're right. I can't.
Boy, what a great series this would make.
Wonka.
This is kind of strange.
Yeah, strange, Charlie, but it's fun.
Okay, so there's something that I noticed here. The Oompa Loompas are rowing with these completely blank expressions. In fact, the way they're moving, they kind of look like animatronics at a theme park attraction. Just adds to the idea that this is some demented ride. Also, the way they filmed this scene, the boat itself was being held up by these wooden stilts, and then they just flashed all of these colorful lights in the actors' faces. Boy, yeah, as an actor, that must have been downright freaky. And then, of course, rear projection was used to film the backgrounds. Obviously.
This is terrific.
How much to get off the boat, Wonka?
I think I'm gonna be sick.
I can take a joke, but this has gone too far.
Tell our little guy to turn this around, Wonka.
Ah, now I am gonna be sick.
Don't be happy.
Couldn't be.
There's no earthly way of knowing
He's singing.
which direction we are going.
God, this gives me chills. This creepy poem was actually written by Roald Dahl himself, and the actors had no idea Wilder would be reciting it, so all their confused reactions are completely genuine. And the way Wilder delivers the lines so ominously, it makes Wonka seem that much more devilish and sinister.
There's no knowing where we're rowing, or which way the river's flowing. Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is a hurricane a blowing?
Okay, so countless people have speculated the meaning of this scene. I have a theory of my own. So the whole point of the tour is to see which kid is best suited to take over the factory, right? And I've always seen this sequence as some sort of mental endurance test, and that's why Wonka is torturing them psychologically. He wants to see who breaks down and who remains mostly in control. And if you actually back up a little bit, you'll see something here. You'll notice that Grandpa Joe grabs onto Charlie for comfort, not the other way around. Perhaps an indication of how brave Charlie really is. Also, Wilder, he barks at this woman. He just goes, "Ah!" So you just know he's getting a lot of glee out of messing with these poor folks.
Not a speck of light is showing, so the danger must be growing. Are the fires of hell a-glowing? Is the grisly reaper mowing? Yes! The danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing, and they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing!
Oh man, Gene Wilder had such a horrifying yet still comical scream. Hats off to him. What a tremendous actor. But again, it goes back to my theory of, this being some sort of mental test. He's doing his best to scare the stuffing out of these people.
Oh, make him stop, Daddy!
Wonka, this has gone far enough. Quite right, sir. Stop the boat.
We're there.
Where?
Here. A small step for mankind, but a giant step for us.
All ashore.
Get me off this crate.
Now, why don't they show stuff like that on TV?
I don't know.
What a nightmare.
Daddy, I do not want a boat like this.
They end up in this underground, dimly lit dungeon. Quite the change from what they experienced earlier, isn't it? It completely throws the tour members off guard, which matches the feelings of the audience, because who would expect something so bizarre and just freaky like this in the middle of a children's fantasy film? And it is true that it's totally inconsistent with what comes before, but bear in mind, from this point on, we're completely in Willy Wonka's world, and Wonka himself is a twisted individual with a dark sense of humor. So maybe, more than anything, the tunnel is just a way for him to have some fun. I mean, I have a dark sense of humor, so I would probably get some laughs out of subjecting random strangers to such a nerve-wracking experience.
He's absolutely bonkers.
To be honest, this isn't the only scary scene in this non-horror flick. It's filled with disturbing bits of human beings acting selfish and, to put it bluntly, nihilistic. Dahl's fantasy stories can be seen as allegories for the dangers of the real world. He treated his young readers seriously and didn't wish to hide the truth from them. The world can be a scary, often confusing place, so there you have it. Though apparently he wasn't too thrilled with the way this movie turned out, which is kind of strange because he wrote the screenplay himself, so I don't know if there were differences between him and the filmmakers, if maybe he had a slightly different vision for this, I'm not entirely sure. But guys, thank you so much for joining me in my discussion of the tunnel sequence and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Did this sequence traumatize you as a wee lad? Did it scare you as children? Because it certainly did me. Actually, this was pure nightmare fuel for me, and being such a young, impressionable child, yeah, this probably wasn't the best sequence for me to watch. In fact, it was one of those VHS tapes where I used to hit the fast forward button a lot because I did not want to watch this scene when I was younger. But yes, thank you so much again, guys. Again, I have plenty of videos on this channel analyzing scary scenes and non-horror flicks. The last one I did was the large march sequence in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Tim Burton movie, so please check that out. I'll leave the playlist down below, so you can definitely check out the other videos in this series. Thank you so much for joining me, boys and ghouls. It was a lot of fun talking about this sequence, and you know, this is something I really enjoy doing. I love analyzing scary scenes and non-horror flicks, and of course, I mean, I'm a horror buff. I mean, I surround myself with horror memorabilia, and yeah, I just love scary stuff. So if you like this, please subscribe to my channel, Round the Clock Frights, or maybe I should sing that for you. Please do subscribe, please do, or else you'll be a giant piece of poo. I can't sing as well as Gene Wilder. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me again. Have a very scary night, boys and ghouls. Take care, and load up on some chocolate. That's pure ecstasy right there. Have a good night, guys. Take care.